Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to our current National Honor Society members who are going to lead our program tonight. We begin with our opening.
Welcome, students, families, and administrators. Principal Paul Schmitz, Assistant Principal Nick Clausman, Assistant Principal Scott Hiskins, and our Superintendent, Dr. Bill Adams. My name is Lindsay Linares, and I will be starting off tonight's induction ceremony. First, I'd like to go over what National Honor Society is. National Honor Society was started in 1921. Its purpose was to recognize students' academic achievements throughout their high school career. As going off of that, National Honor Society also serves to promote students' growth in other areas. The 4 pillars that the National Honor Society is built on will be our focus tonight. The first qualification or pillar is scholarship. Each student must have a 3.75 GPA or higher. This is an average of an A- or better throughout each of their classes. In addition to scholarship, the other pillar is that of services. Each student was asked to describe their volunteer services that they have done or are currently doing throughout our community. The third pillar is leadership. Students are evaluated on how they show leadership throughout the school, the classroom, teams, and activities. Finally, our last pillar is character. Students are evaluated on how they show respect for teachers, staff, and fellow students, as well as their integrity and honesty both in and out of school. Congratulations to the 31 new students who have met these qualifications and will become members of the Willmar High School National Honor Society this evening.
Thank you, Natalie. Part of our tradition during this ceremony is to invite students who would like to invite a teacher who's been significant in their education and in both their educational and personal formation. And tonight we have 3 of our students, Brooke Thompson, Daniela Medina Reyes, and Natalie Lopez, who have invited Mrs. Amy Grusing, Mr. Travis Michelson, and Ms. Kaylee Helgeson. So I'd invite all the 3 students to come up and our 3 teachers to come and have a seat over here and wait to be introduced. So please come on up to the stage.
Sorry guys, I have to pull this up really quick. A little not prepared. Okay, I just wanted to start by saying congratulations to all of you. This is a very big accomplishment because I know you guys have all worked super hard to get to where you are today. And then now you may be wondering why I'm going to be yapping here for the next couple of minutes, but like you said, I'm going to be announcing Mrs. Grusing, wherever she is, and her impact on my learning. So I'm sure many of you have been blessed with having Mrs. Grusing as a teacher, and if you haven't, I'm sure you will in the next year and a half, 2 years. My first occurrence with her was my film class my junior year, and I actually almost dropped the first day because I was like, this girl kind of talks a lot. But then I was like, you know what, I talk a lot too, so I think we're gonna get along great. Anyways, so the last couple of years have been exceptionally hard for me, juggling school, work, when I was in sports, not anymore, but I'm not gonna talk about that. But like I was saying, it's been hard, and I'm sure it has been hard for all of you too, getting all of your work done while working and doing all that other stuff. It's not easy, but You guys all didn't, and that's why you're here today. So Miss Grusing, in the past few months, has been very lenient with me with when I needed help with an assignment or when I was missing lots and lots of school. But she helped me get my grade back up, and she is still helping me with if I need advice or anything like that. So I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you've told me and the advice that you've given me, and just being overall an amazing teacher to not only me, but probably a lot of the students sitting in this auditorium today. So thank you.
Today I'll be honoring Mr. Michelson. I want to take a moment to recognize Mr. Michelson for the incredible impact he's had on my life. From the very first day in his class, he made me feel seen and valued. Mr. Michelson always took the time to check in, not just in my progress and work, but always how I was doing personally. His authenticity and realness created an environment where I felt comfortable being myself. And I know many of my peers feel the same way. Beyond being an exceptional teacher, Mr. Michelson brought humor and lightness to every lesson, making even the hardest concepts feel achievable. He didn't just teach music, he inspired us to connect with music in a way that was meaningful and personal. Every moment spent in his class felt worth it, whether it was mastering a difficult piece or sharing a joyful laugh. It wasn't just the music skills we gained, but the life lessons and the genuine care he's shown that truly made the difference. I will miss being in your class and in theater rehearsals. Thank you, Mr. Michelson, for being the kind of teacher who not only nurtures talent, but also inspires passion and creates memories that last a lifetime.
Good evening, everyone. Today I have the privilege of honoring a teacher who has made a lasting impact on my life and so many others. When I think of someone who has truly embodied the spirit of dedication and care, the first person who comes to mind is Kaylee Helgeson. She's more than just a teacher to me. She goes above and beyond, far exceeding the expectations of her role. I experienced this firsthand when I missed 2 weeks of school. Instead of simply handing me my assignments and expecting me to catch up on my own, she stayed after school multiple times a week, outside of her own personal time, just to help me get back on track. She could have easily gone home and relaxed, but she chose to help me, show me just how much she cares about her students' success. Even when it wasn't required of her, she made herself available during her prep hour, an hour meant for her own work and rest, to make sure I had everything I needed to understand the material. This is not just about teaching a lesson, but about making sure that every student is given the resources they need to thrive. Her willingness to go the extra mile speaks volumes about her character and her passion. What stands out most about her is the way that she bonds with each and one of her students. She doesn't just teach a subject. She teaches us as individuals. She makes the classroom a place where learning is not only engaging, but enjoyable, striking the perfect balance between fun and education. You can tell she genuinely cares, not just about our grades, but about our well-being as a group of people. I feel incredibly lucky to have had the chance to learn from someone who not only teaches, but also inspires, nurtures, and truly listens. Thank you, Ms. Helgeson, for being a teacher who sees us more than just students, but as individuals with unique needs and potential. You have made a lasting impact on my life, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. And you may go back and be seated and be more comfortable down. But thank you so much for being here this evening. I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Haugen.
It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for this evening, the principal of Willmar High School, Mr. Paul Schmitz. Mr. Schmitz began teaching in the Willmar Public Schools in 1995 as a social studies teacher at Willmar Junior High School, which is now the middle school. He served as the athletic director at Willmar High School from 2001 to 2004 and as assistant principal from 2004 to 2012. In 2012, Mr. Schmitz became the principal at Willmar High School. Among his many accomplishments as principal have been the implementation of iPads and other technology, welcoming and supporting the increased diversity of our student population, guiding the staff and students through the many challenges of the COVID pandemic, and currently leading the teachers in the development of a standards-based learning curriculum. Please welcome Mr. Schmitz.
Yeah, sorry, juniors, I'm your entertainment for the night. But so 1995, kids, yeah, all of you that are here, you're really good at math. You know what that means. You're thinking, you can't be that old, right? So, off script, I had asked Mr. Lynham for permission to say this when I saw that. So 1995, I'm not from Willmar, for those of you that don't know me. Most of you don't. I was living in Minneapolis, just married, and I wanted to be a psychology teacher. There's a reason why I'm telling this story. And there was only one opening in the state of Minnesota. Well, one in like Northfield, but one in Willmar. The first one that was open was Willmar, so I got an interview, which is a surprise. I didn't have any experience. Drove out to Willmar with my wife, and I interviewed, and I got a call that night, and they said, well, we have good news and bad news. We actually offered the psychology job to a teacher that was teaching history in 8th grade, but we'd like to offer you that job because that person has taken this position. So I asked for 48 hours, thought about it, and took the job. And I didn't get the job because they hired Mr. Hovland instead of me. So I think it's worked out for both of us. He's here to take your picture, and he ran the National Honor Society for years. And if you haven't had Mr. Hovland, he tends to be very popular, and he's a way better psychology teacher than I ever would have been. So it worked out for both of us. So this is a night that's unique. We get to, so juniors, I'm kind of talking to you, but I'll probably be looking at the rest of the crowd. It's unique to have an awards program while you're still students here. Typically, the award programs, and the seniors will be sick of them by the time they graduate. Everything happens at the end of something. This actually takes place during something. So I try to, make it relevant to something for you to think about. The speech that I give, I typically give the speech here on this evening. Last year, seniors, if you remember, for whatever reason, I was fascinated with the concept of cell phones were destroying academic progress, and I kind of lectured everybody about that. It was literally called Phones Are Making Us Dumber, was the theme of my talk. But I also talked about the different characteristics. I'm going to go a little more traditional today. I'm going to be talking about my kind of version of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. And what I would, instead of just kind of talking at you, which is what I'm about to do, my hope is that you would kind of think about each of these, maybe in a way that you haven't. You just wanted to get into the National Honor Society, so you signed up for it. What is that? And later on, when the seniors talk about the different characteristics as well, I'm hoping that you kind of think about this through your lens and what this actually means to you. So I'm going to start with leadership. And out here right now are most of the leaders in our school. You're the captains of our sports teams, student council members, key club members, leaders in the music department. Leadership may have been the most difficult for some of you, though, because you are more introverted, like I actually kind of was in high school, and you don't necessarily feel a call to lead people. However, true leadership can be quiet and unassuming, and there are many different kinds of leaders. Our school and society right now needs everyone to take on their own version of leadership role, and that is to be positive. You don't need to have your name at the top of a letterhead or a C on your jersey to make a positive difference in your community, home, and in our classrooms. And as I work my way around this school, I really find our classrooms to be incredibly positive, hopeful places, and the students that are here are a big part of that atmosphere. So now, signing on as a member of the National Honor Society, that positive leadership is now an expectation that we all have of you, and hopefully that is an expectation that you continue to have for yourself. Next one is character. Character, to me, is the most difficult one of these characteristics to define and kind of can be challenging to live it out. It's characters talked about all of the time. There's platitudes that we can hear, and we can talk about what good character is. We can nod our heads and agree with it, but it's really more difficult to put the concept of character into your life and analyze your actions in reference to your goals to figure out what character actually means to you. Because now you're suddenly going to need to rely on character when making the right decision actually becomes more difficult than making the wrong decision. Here's what I mean by that. When it can happen when you turn about 16 or 17, when you compare yourself to elementary school. When you were younger, character really was about being compliant and following the rules of the adults around you. Character is now about defining who you are for yourself, what you stand for, and what you want to become. The summer before your senior year can be an especially precarious time for these challenges, and college can be even more difficult. Can you stick to your values, can you stick to your values even when it's inconvenient or worse, unpopular? So my advice for this moment is you have an entire lifetime to be an adult and only part of a year or just over a year to be a high school student. So, and being an adult can be kind of overrated. So while you're here, commit to your responsibilities that you have to your teammates, your schoolwork, your faith, your family. Then you'll be able to look back at graduation time and you'll have no regrets about your time here in high school. The next NHL trait I'll talk about is service. And inside of service, a kind of a hidden trait within that is what I honestly believe to be one of the secrets to happiness in life. I'll get to that in a sec. So for some of you, service is the easiest tenet for you to fill out in your application. You already volunteer at church, or other types of service just comes naturally for you. Others of you had to fulfill these service hours because it was a requirement, because you wanted to join the National Honor Society or boost your college application. And the power of service is that even when you start doing something for others for external reasons, it can have a way of transforming you. So then how does this connect to happiness? Happiness is a complicated subject. It means different things to different people. There are studies on it, books written about it. We even have a constitutional right to pursue happiness. But for me, through my observation, reading, trial and error, I have learned that one of the true steps of happiness is in that service to others. It is in giving that we receive, and that is the paradox of the pursuit of happiness. The more that we work to help others find what they need in life, the likelier it is that success and happiness will find us. So hopefully, that is something that many of you have already figured out, and some of you have started to discover, hopefully, as you pursued your membership in the National Honor Society. And finally, scholarship. Many of you excel academically, obviously. You find this pillar to be the most straightforward. However, the pressure of academics is also connected to scholarship and planning for the future, and that can feel overwhelming. So it's especially hard if you don't know what you want to do. For those of you that already know you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be an RN, and the pursuits that you have with that goal, there's a clear path of alignment. I think really it's one of the reasons I became a teacher. I could see the path to becoming a teacher. People that start their own businesses and take more chances, that was a little overwhelming for me. And that's where a lot of you are right now. And what if your interests don't fit neatly in one of those career paths? In Ramp Up, we ask, what do you want to do for the next 6 or 7 years for your life? And like, you don't want to think about it. And then, of course, after you start to figure that out, then we ask you, how are you going to pay for it? And it gets really stressful. Now you have to add in, well, is the job that I really am interested in 5 years, is AI going to take that one over? Being a junior, being a senior is really can be a stressful time. So why am I saying all of this? These are big questions. You don't have to have those answers right now. But through this National Honor Society, I have good news for you. Let's see if I convince you of this. That by being here tonight, you're demonstrating that you're already on a path to success. You have demonstrated a competence, a commitment that's already putting you ahead of your peers. There are 31 of you here today, and there's about 300 of your peers that are not here. They didn't take the time or do the work to get this done. Your future can feel overwhelming. Just focus on the present. Can you live up to these commitments of the National Honor Society and your other commitments in your life to your friends and family? Can you do that today? You can. Can you do it tomorrow? Tomorrow, can you wake up and live by your personal commitments and these tenets of the National Honor Society? And you can do that tomorrow. And then that's really all you have to do. Trust yourself, trust this process. Work like that every day, and your future will take care of itself. If you simply continue to do your best, it will unfold and your answers will arrive. Just trust me, that's how it works. So until then, with the last half of your year, seniors, your schedules are done. You can't change them the rest of this term, so don't listen to this part of it. But for juniors, get the most out of this place that you can. I say this part every year. Take a welding class. Take a class in the greenhouse. Get out of your comfort zones. Sign up to be a student assistant in an English newcomer class and meet kids from different parts of the world. Take Hovland and Grusing's psych and film class. That's a guarantee. It's a must. Try Chinese. Go to our culture night. And some of the seniors have figured this one out. Find a teacher who will help you work on your dream independent study class and see if you can get me to sign it, and I will. If you have an independent study class signed by a teacher, you can study anything you'd like, and I signed a few of those for these seniors already. So, closing thoughts. The 4 pillars of the National Honor Society, scholarship, service, leadership, and character, aren't just abstract ideas. They're practical and powerful tools that can help build a meaningful life. Our world needs smart, hardworking people with strong character, commitment to serving others, and I have no doubt that you are up for that challenge. Thank you all for what you bring to our school. Congratulations on your achievements so far, and I'm looking forward to see what else you have to accomplish. Congrats.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Schmitz. I haven't formally introduced myself to those who don't know who I am. I'm Todd Lynham. I'm a teacher here. I teach Chinese, and I am also the advisor to the National Honor Society. And at this time, before we continue on, I'd like to recognize our National Honor Society members who were inducted last year at this time. And I invite them to stand up in front of the stage here. And as I call your name, would you just step forward? And I'm inviting everybody to please hold your applause until everybody's been introduced. But just a chance for them to be recognized once again, and their peers who are being inducted tonight to get to know who they're joining up with here. So I begin with, and again, just take a step forward as I say your name, please. Sullivan Inez, Hannah Bredesen, Finley Donaldson, Conlon Carlson, Grace Ederman, Braden Fagerly, Timothy Halverson, Elizabeth Haugen, Allison Johnson, Derek Johnson, Madeline Johnson, Zoe Johnson, Claire Matson, Madison Norston, Claudia Peerboom, Avery Olson, Lindsay Perez, Solen Ruff, Dustin Soybert, Brooke Thompson, Evan Walstead, Ella Wilson, and Gretchen Volk. Let's give an applause for these members. And you may be seated, thank you. And I invite the 4 members who are going to lead us in the 4 pillars of the National Honor Society to come forward.
The first candle represents the pillar of scholarship. Scholarship means a commitment to lifelong learning. A student is willing to spend time in reading and study, knowing the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We are also eager to learn outside the classroom. We are aware that each person we meet and each experience we have can teach us something very important. Learning is the tool by which we connect with the past, understand the present, and prepare for the future. We desire to continue to learn even after formal education has ended, for learning only ends with the end of life. The famous American industrialist Henry Ford once said, "Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning will always stay young." National Honor Society members are committed to continually expanding their understanding of the world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship.
The second candle represents the pillar of service. Service can be described in many ways, in two ways. In the routine of the day's work, many opportunities arise to help others. Willingness to work for the benefits of those in need, without monetary compensation or without recognition, is the quality we seek in our membership. Those who serve others are repaid the feeling of goodwill that comes from within. Service means to others with compassion instead of judgment, to find solutions instead of placing blame, to be willing to listen even to those with whom we disagree. Evangeline Booth, the first woman to serve as leader of the Salvation Army, once said, "Life is not about how many years we live, but what we do with them. It is not about what we receive, but what we give to others." National Honor Society members are committed to volunteering our time, abilities, and ways of living to the creation of a better tomorrow for all.
The third candle represents the pillar of leadership. True leadership must start from unselfish motives. It requires a constant and intentional denial of self, a genuine compassion for others, and dependability in any responsibility accepted. The most important quality of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for a greater good for all. Great leaders communicate their visions and objectives while respectfully listening to those of others. We understand that the best leaders are those who can inspire others to achieve their personal best. John Quincy Adams, the 6th President of the United States, once said this about leaders: "If your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and to become more, you are a leader." National Honor Society members understand that no matter what power and resources may exist for any organization, team, or project in life, they are ineffective without the guidance of wise leaders.
The fourth candle represents the pillar of character. Character is the force within each individual which distinguishes that person from others. It gives each one individuality. Without it, we cannot respect ourselves, nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is the force of character which guides one through life. Character is the product of constant action, daily striving to make the right choice. By demonstrating such qualities as respect for others, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, and citizenship, we hope to prove by example that we value character. In his famous speech, "I Have a Dream," Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said that he had dreamed that his children would live in a nation where they would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Imagine a world in which our standard for greatness was not power, wealth, awards, or fame, but instead character. National Honor Society members understand that regardless of our backgrounds or our circumstances, we will always be in control of the type of character we develop and share with the world.
Thank you very much. At this time, we are going to present our new inductees to the National Honor Society, and I would invite them, they've asked them to try to order in alphabetical order by last name. If you could come up to the stage in that order at this time, kind of make your way back there, and those of our current, or returning students, I should say, would come up who are going to read your names. And you can go ahead and come out now. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And we ask for the help of our assistant principals to hand out their certificate and a Willmar National Honor Society pen for them to have as a souvenir.
Okay, so our first inductee is Mumtahaz Abdullahi. Noel Becker. Natalie Berg. Aubrey Bergstrom. Carly Brown. Kevin Carlson. Tangi Conklin. Kiana Eichhorst.
Adeline Engen. Irene Espinoza. Rhea Glein Erickson. Liza Gustafson. Lily Jorgensen. Haley Jurgensen. Sarah Kelp. Mia Kuzman.
Lily Lang. Riley Lammer. Shay Loso. Tyler Madsen. Kennedy Mara. Ashlyn Martinez Deras. Daniela Fifita.
Annalie Morales. Adamaris Moreno. Pablo Osa. Ethan Remersma. Madeline Villeneuve. Brenna Willis. And Abigail Zavala.
And let's give a little round of applause of congratulations and welcome. And I invite you all to make return to your seats, please, and we'll continue with the pledge, the National Honor Society pledge, and I invite our returning students, who are leading that to come up.
Okay, so if I could ask all the new inductees to stand and repeat after me.
As well as returning.
And returning.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry. No, that's fine. Okay, I pledge to be a strong student, achieving the most for my education. I pledge to be eager to learn from all people I meet, and in all experiences I have.
I pledge to demonstrate responsibility, showing enthusiasm, and working with integrity in all that I do.
I pledge to continue to develop my skills of leadership, practicing them in all aspects of my life.
I pledge to be of service to my school, to my fellow students, and to my community, helping everyone to achieve their best.
I will maintain for myself and encourage in others high standards of all four pillars: scholarship, service, leadership, and character.
Thank you, and be seated, and I invite Maddie Norston to come up.
On behalf of the Willmar High School National Honor Society, I thank you all for being here this evening. I would also like to encourage you to follow the Honor Society at the Instagram account, which is on the last page of the program. With that, we conclude the induction ceremony. All National Honor Society members are asked to go to the bleachers in the Commons area for photos. Everyone is invited to stay for refreshments in the Commons area. Thank you and have a great evening.
We are dismissed, and as Maddie said, please head out there for the bleachers for our photos.